Being broke sucks. Like, it sucks. You want to do some certain things, but you just can't. Maybe you want to pay for rent, the money is not complete yet. You want to pay for school fees, the money is not complete yet. You want to redecorate your house, maybe change your car tires, or just a thing or two. But the money is just not enough. It sucks. It's a very, very, very bad place to be in, and you just trudge on and grudgingly do one or two and just get by. But being dead broke, that is a nightmare. You lack everything. Being dead broke kills you. It kills your confidence. It kills your persona. It makes you doubt even your very own existence. It makes you think to yourself, am I cursed? Am I not enough? Like, where did I get it wrong? How did I get it wrong? I've been there beforehand. It wasn't funny. I've been broke and I've been dead broke. Being dead broke kills you. It literally puts you into depression. You don't think clearly. In fact, the whole world just seems to pause. Your life just hit pause. Nothing going on. You don't have any money. You don't have any expectation of having any money anytime soon. You are in debt. That is the worstest part of it. You are in debt. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the story of a banker named Emmanuel, how he dealt with this situation and how he was able to get out of it, how he ended up doubting himself, questioning life, and asking so many questions about life. What is the purpose of life? Why are we even here? What is all this struggle about? To what end? Is there even any scoreboard to say, oh, I've hit this check mark, okay, so even if I don't have any amount right now, I can still console myself that I've still passed and I'm still going here. Let me just wait a bit and just chill out. There's no scoreboard. He kept asking himself this question. So in this video, I'm going to walk you guys through all these entire phases, the whole emotions that he passed through and how he was able to get out of it. So walk with me. Okay, so before I go any further, there's something I want to touch on quickly here. People usually think that being dead broke happens overnight. It really does. In fact, there are markers, there are pointers to it. It usually goes from being okay to being broke and to being dead broke. And in between all these things, something is going on. Like from being okay here, in between okay and being broke, something is going on that took you from being okay to being broke. And in between broke and dead broke, in between here, something happened that took you from being broke to being dead broke. It's usually faster from this to this. So let's scribble a bit. Let's go to the books and see what happens. This is Emmanuel, a banker in Lagos earning 250,000 naira monthly. On paper, it looks fine, but in reality, it's a daily grind. He wakes up daily at 5:30 a.m., drags himself into traffic in his 2008 Corolla just to reach the bank by 8 a.m. At work, he smiles at customers, moving millions while quietly calculating how his own salary will vanish before the month even ends. Evening traffic is not even much better. He returns to a modest 2-bedroom apartment in Ikeja, greets his wife, and plays with his boy. And then he wonders to himself, is this current phase all that I am worth? He's not poor by any stretch, but he is not all that either. He's not balling. He's still hoping for that promotion or maybe start a small business on the side. Month after month, the cycle repeats. Not suffering, but not balling either. Just existing in between. And then everything changed. It started slowly. The first sign was at work. Numbers at the bank weren't adding up. The office whispers grew louder and louder, and then one morning his manager called him in, and just like that, the job was gone. Downsizing, they called it. A nice corporate word to say, you are no longer useful to us. The first month without salary wasn't too bad. He had some savings, and his wife comforted him. Don't worry, Emmanuel, something else will come. But Lagos doesn't wait for anyone. The rent still came knocking. NEPA still brought their bills, and food transport, and all those little emergencies, they all drained his account little by little. By the third month, reality hit. The savings were almost gone. Emmanuel began avoiding friends because every conversation turned into small comparisons about who was moving forward and who was stuck. He couldn't even afford to sit at beer parlors anymore, so he just stayed indoors. His wife tried her best to hold things together. Sometimes she borrowed small things from neighbors, those little things. Sometimes she cooked smaller meals just to stretch what they have. But the tension was there. Emmanuel started snapping over little things, and at night, he often stared at the ceiling, calculating and recalculating how long they could survive. After a few months of job hunting and the same "we will get back to you" reply, Emmanuel realized that he couldn't just sit and wait. He had his 2008 Toyota Corolla now. It wasn't new, but it was solid. Toyotas are known for being solid. Friends already advised him to sign up for Uber. At first, he felt a bit embarrassed. How can I go from a respected banker in Ikeja to a ride-share driver in Lagos traffic? But he told himself, at least I'll be making some money. At least my family won't starve. And for the first month, it worked. He would leave his house in Egbeda by 5 a.m. to beat the early morning traffic and then spend the entire day driving customers from Lekki to Ikeja to Surulere. Some days he made 50,000 naira. Other days, maybe 35,000 naira. Then after fueling and Uber cuts, he was usually left with 15,000 to 20,000 naira daily. It was a reasonable amount. But for some reason, he still felt ashamed to tell his neighbors he was now an Uber driver. His wife encouraged him. Honey, this is just temporary. Just ignore what everybody will tell you. At least we are not begging. But then the main reality hit. 2 months into driving, the car started giving problems. First, it was overheating. He spent 45k to change only the radiator. Then it was the suspension, 30k gone. Then the big blow, engine wahala. A mechanic at Ladipo told him the Corolla's engine needed half-top overhaul. That cost 300,000 naira. Man shouted. He didn't even have 30,000 naira in his bank account. This was where the real broke phase began. He borrowed money from a friend to fix that car. That same month, his son's school called to remind him of outstanding school fees. He borrowed again. He told himself, once this car is back on the road, I'll pay everybody. After all, at least my small money is adding up. But Lagos has a way of frustrating plans. And after fixing the engine, the gearbox started jerking. The car spent more time in the mechanic's workshop than on the road. Now Emmanuel was not only broke, he was in debt. The pressure began to show at home. His wife, who once praised his efforts, started doubting him. Sometimes she would say, Emmanuel, are you sure this Uber thing is worth it? He knew she was tired too. Their food budget already reduced badly since last month. Instead of buying a bag of rice, they now bought a derrica. Instead of meat, they are now managing bomo. Emmanuel himself stopped eating much during the day just to save food for his wife and son. The breaking point came when rent expired. 950,000 naira. He didn't even have 95,000 naira to start with. The landlord was patient for a month, then 2, then 3. But by the 4th month, he served them quit notice. Emmanuel tried everything. He begged his friends, begged family, even begged his church members. But nobody could raise that kind of money, especially at this time. Everyone had their own Lagos struggle. All of us did this Tinubu regime. So Emmanuel decided to sell his Corolla, the car that once gave him pride, the car he washed every Saturday morning, the car he has now been managing to feed his family with. He sold it for 1.5 million naira out of desperation, even when he knew it was worth more. And then he used 950,000 naira from that sale to settle rent arrears. 200,000 naira went to clear the loudest loan apps that have been disturbing him daily. 150,000 naira to pay his son's school fees. And by the end of that week, he had only 200,000 naira left with him. That 200,000 naira was going into feeding and every other thing. And within 2 months, that too was gone. Now, there was nothing. They started scraping by again gradually. And before you could know it, the year just blew by and rent was due again. The landlord was already threatening again. And this time, it was worse. Emmanuel looked at it and told his wife, I think it's time we move to a cheaper environment. Where? His wife asked. Ikorodu. Ha! Ikorodu ke. Emmanuel explained, at least a one-room self-contained there is 120,000 naira a year. Let us manage that one. The wife reluctantly agreed. They packed their things in silence. Neighbors watched as the once banker Emmanuel loaded his life into a downful truck. Ikorodu was another world. Very little tarred roads, no steady light in the interior, mosquitoes everywhere. To be honest, his wife cried the very first night. She tried to hide it, but Emmanuel heard her sniffing in the dark. In the morning, their son asked, "Daddy, why is this place so small?" Emmanuel had no answer for that question. Things only got worse from that point. Without the car, Uber was no longer an option. His job hunt continued to fail. The debts piled again and again, this time small ones, but enough to shame him. He owed the local provision store 18,000 naira. He owed his son's school 45,000 naira. He already owed his new landlord 2 months' rent because he couldn't afford 1 year rent and he paid 6 months. Now he's 2 months behind. And the man is already disturbing him as well. Insults came next. One day, his wife's younger cousin visited and casually said, "Auntie, you really tried, oh. If na me, I for don't go back village. Tay. Emmanuel wanted to disappear. The embarrassment was too much. Even his own friends stopped picking his calls. They were tired of his constant borrowing. His dignity eroded bit by bit. He kept asking himself, is this how my story ends? The weight of shame became physical. His shoulders slumped. His laughter disappeared. He stopped picking calls he couldn't return. Even his wife started talking less to him. This was the dead broke phase. A man stripped of everything. His car, his house, his friends, his dignity. And watching life move on without him. He had nothing left but his mind, his hands, and the will to try to rise again. And he had this life lesson with him now. Nothing is secure unless you create it yourself. So Emmanuel started thinking small. He noticed his neighbor in Ikorodu was into construction. Every evening, the man would come home with cement on his clothes. Instead of just watching him, Emmanuel went to talk to him. "Oga, can I join you in this your work?" The man laughed at first. "Banker, you want to mix cement?" But Emmanuel wasn't joking. The next day, he followed the man to site. He became the extra hand, carrying blocks, fetching water, pushing wheelbarrows, the menial stuffs. From earning 250,000 naira in suit to earning 2,000 naira in sweat. People mocked him. Some said, "See, our banker don't turn bricklayer." But Emmanuel wasn't listening this time. He was watching and learning. Week after week, site after site, Emmanuel started understanding the rhythm of construction, how workers cut corners, how clients complained, where the real profit was. He kept asking questions. He stayed close to engineers, to surveyors, to site supervisors. Within a year, Emmanuel knew the ins and outs of the business, not from books, but from the ground. Still, knowledge wasn't enough. He needed to climb, and that climb started with small hustles. He was still helping his wife with little sales on the side just to keep food in the house. At night, he would sketch ideas, calculating how much it would take to build a small bungalow, what profit margin looked like, how to pitch himself if given the chance at all. Then one morning, the first break came. Unexpectedly, a man in the neighborhood wanted to build a small extension for his shop. He had no trust in these area boys contractors. Emmanuel overheard him asking someone for recommendation. The next morning, he dressed neatly and went to see him. He spoke with so much clarity and honesty. "I don't have a big name yet, Oga, but if you give me this work, I swear to you, I will put in my blood and my sweat into this project. You will not regret it. Oga, try me." The man looked at him and just agreed. At least he wasn't like the rest. He didn't dress like the rest. He looked learned. Emmanuel took this project like it was the billion naira project. He supervised everything, accounted for every block, made sure no cement disappeared from site. At the end, the man shook his hand. "You are different. You will go far." He even tipped him. That first job became his testimony. Word spread. La Lagos be this. Another client came. Then another one. Then another one. By 6 months, Emmanuel had his first full building contract, a 3-bedroom bungalow in Oba. He was so happy. He couldn't believe it. From mixing cement in borrowed slippers to signing papers as a contractor, he poured himself into this work. Day and night, he slept on that site. He didn't leave that site. He was there till that project was concluded. After this one, the bigger bricks just kept coming in. He didn't rush to buy a new car. He still jumped Okada and jumped Danfo. But now people address him as engineer. The same man who was once called Brook Banker was now building houses. By the time the second year came around, Emmanuel had built a name for himself. A small one, but strong. People like disciplined contractors, honest contractors, contractors that will give you bill of quantity and will not call you next tomorrow and say, "Oh, I forgot to add this one, I forgot to add that one." Emmanuel was not that kind of contractor. And from there, he went from hustling for food to employing men. paying salaries, and driving contracts that people in his old bank circle could only dream of. And that was how Emmanuel began his rise, not with noise, not with luck, but with grit, humility, and the wisdom that only failure can teach you. This is the end of the story of Emmanuel.